Hi, today on Dear Craft, we are taking this pressed flower and going to frame it for a gift. I'm using a frame I found at a thrift store, and I want to give it to the person who grew the flower. A good friend of mine is growing cut flowers and selling them, and I'm just so proud of her, and I wanted to give her a little gift to help her remember this growing season where she has done so well. And so I got a bouquet from her, and I pressed a cosmos flower. And I don't have a lot of experience pressing a cosmos flower, but it turned out okay. It took about 2 weeks to get it fully dry, and I just loved the color. So what you're seeing me do is going through all the steps of determining, what background color I wanted. I chose to go with a really chocolatey brown versus an ivory. I'm disassembling the frame that I bought at a thrift store, and I'm going to take out the picture that I came with and replace it with the pressed flower. But I'm kind of just using things I've had around the house to make this gift. But I just wanted to make it special and something that she could have. And it was kind of a low effort, but high reward in the end. I like putting together gifts for friends that are sentimental, that mean something. They don't necessarily mean they're expensive. And just something to tell them that I'm thinking of them or I'm just really proud of them. I'm always so impressed with my friends who start businesses for themselves, and they're busy and they're moms, and but still take time to create something either with their own business or just how they care for others. I really appreciate. So yeah, you see me going through the motions here of putting it all together, cutting the cardstock to size. I just love the chocolate brown and that magenta color of the flower. I thought it looked really, really beautiful together. And then you see me just deciding how to lay out the flower. I think composition is really important when you decide to frame something. It's not just putting something in a frame. I think you need to decide where it's going in the frame, how it's going to look. If I could go back and do this again, I probably would have tried to press some of the leaves, but I still think it looks just beautiful, just that single flower stem and just right there on the brown paper. I hope she hangs this in her home. We'll see. But I just want her to keep it. I'm just gluing it with some really tacky glue. I didn't want to use any hot glue. And then I'm going to be using some tape. I really love those antique botanical specimen frame specimens that you can see, and they always have those little dainty pieces of tape to keep the specimens in place even though they're framed, and I just love that look, so I wanted to add that as well. So I'm messing with the size of the tape. Again, I think composition matters, how you frame things matter, and how it turns out to look. So here I put it down and I'm oh, way too big. So I'm just cutting it down to its the perfect size that I think makes sense for the scale of the flower. So I just wanted to add that detail to the picture or to the totally framed flower. I want to continue to keep pressing flowers. I think it's a great way to save important flowers that represent something. Maybe your wedding day bouquet. Maybe it's flowers at your baby shower. Gifts from your husband or spouse or significant other, that have gifted you. I also love the idea of saving flowers per season. If you have flowers that are blooming in a particular season and you want to just remember that season, I think that's a great idea. Here I'm just trying all the white instruments I have of writing. I had a chalk pen, I had a color pencil, I had my daughter's broken white crayon, and just seeing what wrote the best. And I always remember to practice before you actually write on the final product, just to kind of warm up your hand, gauge size, make sure your letters spacing is correct. I have to point out that I kept writing Cosmo, and then like the true botanical name of the flower is Cosmos with an S. So I actually went back and like added the S after I realized that that was incorrect. And then I wanted to add the year because, again, I just want her to remember like this flower from this season, this particular year. She had such a great year, and she also had a baby born this year. And so I just thought it was a great way to memorialize in her business and her family. So anyway, I'm just writing as carefully as possible and just making sure that I'm not spelling something wrong, which I went back and corrected. But I'm pretty happy with it. Again, I loved the flower layout and spacing it so it's floating in the frame. I didn't want the stem coming out of the frame. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. And then because it is a gift, I did want to add like a ribbon and something sweet so that she could just see instantly, like, this is a gift to you. I didn't feel like I needed to wrap it. So I just got out all the ribbon that I had on hand and just was determining, what looked best with the frame and the flower. And I decided on this like really delicate little lace looking ribbon. I did hang it up on my wall just to see what it would look like. Sorry for the crazy reflection, but that like old glass is just so reflective and it's really hard to photograph. But I think it turned out great. What do you think?